device that may go off and disturb the show, please put it on silent or vibrate, unless it's a vibrator. In that case, please turn it off. If you need to leave during the show for any reason, please be as quiet as possible on your way up the stairs and watch your step. In case of emergency, there is another exit located to the left of the stage. Please hang out with us after the show in the love call and say hello to our lovely bartenders. We realize you have a choice in comedy venues, and we thank you for saying yes and to the pit. And now, please sit back and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the clergy of Fake Church.
Notice John there behind the bar. Some churches serve their liquor on the altar. We serve eyes off behind a bar where we feel it belongs. At church is definitely where we feel it belongs. Thank you, John. Please see John for all of your alcohol or maybe apple juice needs. I am thrilled to be here, and I hope that you all are. This is Fake Church. Now, there are real churches all over the city. There are fake churches all over the city. This is one of the fake ones. This is one of the few fake ones that declares itself fake right here on a sign behind me. There have been lots of fake churches right here on this spot. Many of them look a lot like this one. They will have a face that looks a lot like mine, a lot like these other ones. This is not any of those either. This is not such fake churches that we've seen as the fake church of baseboards, the fake church of greed, the fake church of video games, and many others that we have seen. Tampons, Tony Danza, hair, have all had their fake churches on this stage. But this is not one of those. Those all defaulted on their leases and were kicked out. We swooped in because we knew that this is a good space for a fake church, as it is, and as a wonderful congregation, as we have built all of you come here every week for so many, many years, and I appreciate it. After all these years, I'm sick of hearing myself say, this is the fake church of what it is. And so I would like, in the vibrant, full of faith and spirit voice of one of you, hear you say it. This is the fake church of...
Cormac McCarthy's The Road.
Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Now understand, understand that almost everyone here was a member of the fake church of Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian. We narrowly escaped with our lives and our scalps intact. This is not the church of that bloody story of men making their way in a new frontier in which there is no law save that of the sharpest knife. No! This is the church of a story in which men are making their way across a destroyed frontier, in which there is no law save the sharpest knife. Or who's got a bullet. Or maybe you've got a can of food and you find me sexually attractive. This is a fake church devoted to the study, celebration, and embracement, which is a word, of everything there is to find in that short, terse, simple, but powerful novel that we know sometimes as simply the book, and that we know sometimes as the road. To get us started, let us have a song from my dear friends in the Fake Church Choir. This is one of the songs that one of our founders returned from his reading marathon from. Some groups do vision quests, we do reading marathons, where you get yourself in a sweat lodge, much like the Indians used to build, and you sweat and sweat till you're dehydrated, and who knows what sort of things you'll find in your trance. But the whole time you're reading. Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Sometimes in some more modern branches, they will use an audiobook, and I'm okay with that. That works too. That reads itself. Some people like to play the audiobook and also read the book and also have their feet on a copy of the Braille edition. There are other more extreme methods, but we pretty much don't talk about that save at conclave every year, and I'm not yet cleared to really speak of any of them, so we don't want you guys to do them. It's very gross. This is a song that one of our founders, Mr. James Brolin, father of Josh Brolin, one of the earliest people to attempt to champion Mr. McCarthy's books for the screen. He did an early vision quest as soon as this book came out. A reading marathon. And when he came back, he had this song for us. It's sort of caveman sounding, if you can imagine music sounding caveman. Well, you don't have to because the pictures have it for us. It's called Trudging, Trudging Down the Road. The caveman hymn, the Fake Church Choir.
Inside your heart.
One step at a time. One step at a time. One step at a time. Trudging. One step at a time.
Surely I would get a high price for them if we were in a post-apocalyptic situation. I needed to buy some canned peaches and maybe the last, quite possibly last, still sealed can of Coca-Cola so that my son might know its taste before it's gone forever from the world. If I had to trade for those things, these guys would get me like a lot of it. You can't have a fake church centered around a book without reading from a book. So here to read from us, dear friends, from the book of Deuteronomy. Just kidding. That doesn't work. Here to read, how can I fool you? Here to read from us, from one of the author's private, unreleased chapters of Cormac McCarthy's The Road, is one of the most stalwart and inspiring members of our congregation. You know her, you love her sister, Julie Fell. Julie.
I would like you all to open your book of Cormac McCarthy's The Road.
You'll find it just under your chair if you didn't bring one on your own.
To chapter 4, Cormac. Cormac was the wisest. He was very wise. All of Cormac's friends said, Cormac, you are the wisest. Friend Abraham came up to Cormac and said, Cormac, I am very sad. I have lost all of my boyhood things in a fire. And Cormac said, Abraham, for reading is your journey. Then Cormac's other friend, Betsy, came up to him, and Betsy told him, "Why, Cormac, I am very troubled because I have no food." And Cormac said, "Betsy, read, for reading is your journey." And finally, Cormac's friend Charlie came up to him, and Charlie said, "Why, Cormac, I am incredibly excited because the Giants are going to the World Series." And Cormac said, "Why, you should read, because reading is the journey." End of chapter. What does that mean? I think that it means that Cormac was having a really meta moment about his whole story, in which that it doesn't matter what emotion you're feeling. It doesn't matter what you are going through, whether you are troubled, whether you are sad, whether you are excited, so excited that you're mixing up your sports analogies. That no matter what's going on in your life, reading is always the answer. Now, as we know in the book, there are some boys who take a journey. But I think what Cormac is trying to tell us in this section, that the journey can also exist in the book. And the book is also the journey. Now maybe you're not very familiar with what this particular journey is, or should be. Maybe that this was one of those short stories that boys read a lot from a certain age, and maybe those girls didn't read those books. Maybe you had no idea what this was. But that is not what matters. Read, for that is the journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe some of you in this room, maybe even on that stage, can identify with the phrase, maybe you don't know what this is. And we do sometimes, I didn't get a chance to look, but we do sometimes get visitors from other churches, other branches of the greater Cormac McCarthy faith structure. Sometimes we get visitors from faith churches about other authors. If you don't know, barring its controversial, apocryphal, unreleased chapters in which there are lots of boys and girls and Betsies and Tommies and things like that, to many people in the wider released consumer version of the book, it's the story of a man and a boy, known as the man and the boy, walking down a road after an unnamed apocalypse, attempting to survive starvation, death by thirst, death by exposure, and death, or worse, at the hands of the ravaging, rampaging bands of savages that are marauding the eastern seaboard of what was once the United States. They're making their way south-ish down the road in hopes that some rumor may be true that there are better things to find down there. I found it a very inspiring story when I first read it. Oprah, St. Oprah, found it inspiring. She made it one of the great breakout hits of her book club. She got the author himself, Mr. Cormac McCarthy, to do a very rare televised interview. It was known as something of a recluse because really once you've delivered something as amazing as The Road, what are you going to do? Go tell people about it? Let them find it, right? But Oprah, St. Oprah, she got him out there and got him talking about it. It was made into an excellent, in my opinion, Mr. Ebert film, starring Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. When I first read it, oddly, one of the things that really stuck out at me, because it was a new word I'd never heard before, but seemed instantly menacing, was the word catamite. Anyone know the word catamite? Yes. I know you do, Laszlo. Let's just say it's a similar word to the very old connotation of the word punk. It is a term for someone who's a very specific kind of slave, a kind of slave you don't want to be. Not that you want to be any kind of slave, but you definitely don't want to be a catamite. Which brings me to the next wonderful song we're going to hear from the Fake Church Choir, which is what was the kind of music that the Beatles used to do? Skiffle? Yes, it's skiffle. Which is like an early sort of rock and roll. It's a skiffle song out of Liverpool, England, called Don't Want to Be a Catamite. And boy, I sure hope you don't, although if you do, Laszlo might want to talk to you. Ladies and gentlemen, with the skiffle classic Don't Want to Be a Catamite, the Fake Church Choir.
I don't want to be a catamite. I don't just get in the mud. I don't want to be a catamite. With you. Oh, I don't want to be a catamite. Otherwise, I'll just get in a fight. I don't want to be a catamite. I don't want to be a catamite. Otherwise, I'll just get in a fight. I don't want to be a catamite. Guitar solo. Time for the kids to come forward. Oh, we've already got kids in all the front rows. Excellent. Hello, children. Hello, children. Hello, children. There's one real child. The rest of you are all children. Because we know how boring all of this apartment talking to be until you get over it all. And so we always make sure we've got a little something in our services for you. Because anyone who reads Cormac McCarthy's The Road as often as we do has a real hard time letting their kids out of their sight. Mine's here. So since you kids are always here every time, we've got a special treat for you. He's been touring some of the county fairs that happen in the winter, some of the poorer states. He's here to bless us with his talents. It's him, Laszlo Pflanderschlatz, the man of 1,000,000 voices. And 100 of them are different. He voiced many of the characters that you guys have heard of because he's told you about them before. Some of the people out in the outer world may or may not have heard of these characters. Not everybody's dedicated enough to animation to dig out even the most obscure. Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls especially, open up your listening ears and polish your shining teeth. Shining teeth? Smiling teeth. Because here he is, Laszlo Pflanderschlatz! Great to see you, Laszlo. Yeah. All right. Shut up.
Well, I'm, as said, I don't actually think I don't need this mic. Sorry, Christine in the back, who pushed through all that hassle earlier, but I think I'm here today, fittingly enough, to come to this great church because one of the things that I do is I provide voices to innocence. Because these characters that I've done will be the things that define your childhood. So what I'd like to do for you all now is let you scream out some of the characters you would like me to do that you remember from all your favorite Nickelodeon shows, not the ones they actually aired, but the ones you remember from your childhood now. Wink, wink, just make it up. And I will do my rendition of these great characters that I'm known for. So, obviously, you know my most famous character. I'll get that out of the way. Yell it out before we can, let's just get it out.
SmcCarthy.
Of course! Smormac McCarthy, who, as we all know, is a Greek immigrant. Came over to this country on a ship made of feta cheese. Go on many adventures. This is SmcCarthy, who doesn't sound Greek at all.
Well, hey there. I'm SmcCarthy. This is my ship of feta cheese. Can you tell me where I can find the Empire State Building?
All right. Now, of course, if we're going to start off with my most famous character, you cannot forget SmcCarthy's sidekick.
Robespierre McGee.
Robespierre McGee, that tyrannical French-Irish who was, I never could agree with the animators as to why they designed him to look like an Eskimo. I never could. And John Chrisfalusi's a real bastard. So this is Robespierre McGee, the Eskimo. Now you just wait right a minute. If you come over here, Smokey, I'm going to beat you with my limiter wheel. All right. Now moving away from Nickelodeon, you all remember I did a Sunday morning cartoon series on ABC that was nominated for 73 billion Emmys. 1, 2. From that show gave us one of the finest characters I've ever had the pleasure of voicing. Character, he's a character. Many children to this day send me letters about, especially the sick ones. This character you all know by the name of
Skittles the bisexual lab rat.
Skittles, that bisexual lab rat. He really did know how to taste the rainbow. Some would say he wasn't bisexual at all. He made his choice. But so Skittles, the bisexual lab rat, we all know enjoyed every amount of torture they put him through to make that cosmetic claim. Sorry, my stroke. Okay, so Skittles, the bisexual lab rat.
Ooh.
You know that went on for hours. She was nominated for an Emmy for that one. I lost to Mel Blanc, that bastard. I have 2 more characters I will do, of course. This one I did for BET. There's got to be one black kid in here. You love that character anyway? Come on, you know the character whose name was...
One Chains.
One change. This is the younger brother of Two Chains?
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. You know, it's been a long time since I did One Chain. The NAACP gave me a lot of shit for my portrayal of One Chain, but I was like, hey, a voice is a voice. And I gave these people a voice when their Martin Luther King Jr. couldn't speak. So here's One Chain.
Hey, yo, man. Two Chains. Why you always picking on me, brother? Come on, man. Yo, pass that fried chicken. Hey, come on. Hey, better answer that for.
Sorry.
No, it's cool, baby.
Can you answer it?
Dance, it's me calling you, baby.
Here we go.
Hey, what's up, man? You reach One Chain. I need One Chain. She must not get BET.
We'll talk after. And my final character of the evening. Female character. Not a lot of people know that I voiced this female character, but I know you do. She's strong. Stronger than that girl in Frozen. Couldn't sing as well. Alright, sorry. I didn't the Frozen set here, okay, not bad. She was a princess who had to abdicate the crown. And her name was, of course, Lady Baloney. Lady Baloney! She was an Italian princess. The papacy tried to undermine her because the papacy hates women. It's true, look up the history books. Lady Bologna. Father, I will never, ever, ever abdicate my... Oh, you took the crown right off my head? Thank you!
Way better than that time Rich Little came. Well, if we're gonna have Laszlo here, let's do him and our own earbones the honor of hearing the classic cartoon theme from the short-lived, but I think worthwhile attempt to make a Saturday morning cartoon of Cormac McCarthy's The Road. It was called The Man, the Boy, and a Ghost Car. It was about a man and a boy in their ghost car. It was a haunted car. So please, to sing for us the jaunty, cartoon, animated theme, the slightly, it was a 30-second thing on the show, but there was a longer cut, and that's what they'll give us. It is the pictured choir with a man, a boy, and their ghost car. Take it away, friends!
His ghost car, a man, a boy, and his ghost car. His ghost car, together, they're sure gonna go far. A man, a boy, and his ghost car. His ghost car.
could have learned from weekly adventures from that with the man and the boy. The ghost car, I mean, it's sort of an add-on to try to make it sell and move toys and stuff. The toys were a real problem. Because, just because you can make something move on the, just just because you can make a really accurate 3¼ inch figure that, its guts are being worn, it's a vest by it's just, even I don't agree with that. Now listen. Every week, at the Fake Church of Cormac McCarthy's The Road, we always have a spot in our program for a guest speaker, someone from the outside world, sometimes part of our fake church, sometimes not, who just knows some things about some relevant stuff, right? It's a really nice way of making sure we don't become too closed in the loop, Because in a post-apocalyptic situation, there's a real danger of inbreeding, right? There's only 2 dudes and 2 ladies. A few generations, even as we're repopulating the earth, with what? 4-legged eyelash creatures? We don't want that, right? So we don't want to do that with our own minds. We want to bring in fresh in from outside. So we have guest speakers. Obviously, based on things I said earlier and on just the laws of probability, there's one person that we would never be able to actually get as a guest here at this one branch of the fake church of Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Who is the least likely guest we could actually get here?
Cormac.
George Burns.
Oh, George Burns is even less likely, sorry. The second least likely person we could get here is, ladies and gentlemen, exactly who we have here today. Please welcome to our stage, Mr. Cormac McCarthy.
Why didn't you tell us he was coming? We would have dressed nicer.
I look terrible!
I haven't showered in a month.
That's appropriate!
Almighty loud. Alright, okay, woke up. Alright. This is it, my publicist told me about you guys. This is real nice. Real nice. Cartoons sound great. I don't have much of
Thank you.
We practiced for weeks.
I can tell, I can see it, I can see your passion. Passion's not the only thing man has. Tell you what, I don't watch much TV, but I'll see that True Detective. It's a hell of a show. No spoilers, I haven't seen the last episode. It's a good show. I'm sorry. The Road, one of my favorite books that I've written. I had a lot of inspiration. It's about a man and a boy. Their journey across a wasteland. Nothing but cannibals at their heels. And the base human instincts. Did you see that episode of True Detective? It's like the second one, and they get, when they start fighting. I mean, oh God, those two, I tell you. But the man and the boy, they're all on a mission to survive. You go out in the wilderness, you go out in the wild. That's all we got. That's all we got are our wits. You can't trust this other man. I'll tell you what. That's right. You should be afraid. Stare into the abyss enough. That's the thing about that show, though, is that they're always looking into the darkness, Like, you don't see that on other, like, The Sopranos or anything like that. It's a real... Starting to like you guys. Now, The Road is a good, it's one of my best novels. Oprah enjoyed it. I remember reading it before sending it. I absolutely wrote that novel. I remember the boy in the story is one of my greatest creations. He's young. Look, when I wrote you know, I'm one of you guys. I didn't know. I know! Look, after all the pretty horses, you know, they came and said, we want more of that. And I said, well, I'm not, you know, I can write a sequel. And I did. It was all the pretty horses too. Prettier horses. And they said, you know what, this is too happy. This isn't what people want. So I said, fine, then you write a better book. So they gave me the outline of the script to a film called The Road. I published it.
Who was the outline by?
Cormac McCarthy.
We want more Mick. We want more Mick. We want.
All right! Look, I didn't want
Go away! You are a liar!
one man's tears are worth 1,000 words.
Don't.
Who wrote that?
By the way, everyone dies at the end of True Detective.
Spoiler alert! Oh, great! I came here, I tried to level with you guys. I tried to let you in on my deepest, darkest secret. All I like on my favorite show, True Detective, when those men touch one another and their emotions. What do I get? Spoilers. Goddamn spoiler. Don't you dare.
Yeah! Boo! Boo!
And now the big church of Cormac McCarthy. So let it do it.
All right. Well, let me leave y'all with one parting advice.
No!
Take the tour. Because that's your journey.
Well, man is an empty vessel.
No!
No. The road's a desert, and you're never, loneliness is all
Boo!
I'll see you all at the end of the road.
Me too, Julie. I'm glad you never read that damn book. That was our charter as the fake church of Cormac McCarthy's Road. Much like a ship made to float on water by the principle of fluency, it couldn't possibly exist. So I torn up our charter because that church, I'm sorry, was even faker than we'd reckoned. That's our charter now. The book is still the book.
You're true, you're right.
That man's name belongs not on those pages, nor on our lips, nor on our sign. So I have a bit of homework for you, my friends. Not our usual homework of find someone who's got access to 55-gallon clean plastic drums, get a drum, fill it with water, bury it someplace you can find. That homework stands, because we don't know what's going to happen. We have one additional task, which is to find every copy you have or know of that book. It does not belong to that man. And right eye, cross out the C and put it in M, so it says Smormac. And then, did he say
McCarthy.
Make it say SmcCarthy. Oh, good Lord. I need a minute. So, dear friends, if you could, please, take out all the Cormacs in the next song, replace them with Mormacs. I had as a special treat to follow up what was supposed to be a special treat, a brief, super condensed
biographical song of Cormac McCarthy. I guess the facts are probably all bogus too, but just as a gesture towards Smormac, wherever he might be, let's sing the same song, but just make it Smormac's story, all right? So this is a song sung in the style of early soul music that they wrote about Cormac McCarthy when he probably was an imposter among the early soul musicians of Detroit. This was called Cormac, that boy has got a pen, but I guess now we're going to call it Smormac, that human, because for all I know it's a lady, it sounds like a lady's name maybe, Smormac. Smormac, that human has got a pen. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fake Church Choir. Thank Lord!
He was born in a ball of light. Smormac, he has fire in his eyes. They see he grabbed a pen to write down ways of the human race. Smormac, his name was Smormac McCarthy. Smormac McCarthy. Smormac McCarthy. The human in the pen. Smormac McCarthy. Smormac McCarthy. The human with a pen. Gonna write it out. Gonna write it out. Gonna write it out. Gonna write it out. Write it out. Gonna write it out on paper. Write it out. Write it out. Gonna write it out. I'm gonna take your pen and write it out. Smormac, Smormac, McCarthy. Smormac, Smormac,
He cannot tell a lie. Oh, God.
Thank you, friend.
I named my son Cormac.
Well, while society structures remain intact and have to get crumbled under the assault of an unspecified but clearly serious cataclysm, there's still a courthouse where you can go and get that changed. If the cataclysm comes, before you get around to it, you can just change it.
That's paperwork. That's paperwork.
He's 37.
That's a lot of paperwork. Thank you, brother. Did anyone hear that? Brother Matt has one of the special phones that we have negotiated with the federal government to have, where at each of the major defense and security agencies, we have one church member highly placed who has a striped button. And if stuff goes down, they're to hit the striped button with their dying throws. 7 alerts just went off on Brother Matt's phone. It's happening, friends. Whatever it is, cataclysm is happening. So that changes a little bit my remarks that I had planned. This is what usually we think of as sort of the home stretch of a Fake Church service. This is where I get to speak to you a little bit, and we have our weekly sacrament. Boy, I was just thrown for a pretty serious loop, but this is a more serious loop. Brother. Yeah. Was this your doing?
Yes.
Ah! Find something and choke on it. It was a joke.
Oh, gosh. Damn it. I'm sorry.
No. Wait, you were joking?
No,
Okay, sorry. No, brother, you did the right thing. You got the signal. You let us know. The fact that it didn't light up and the black shields didn't go down should have told us that it wasn't real. Oh, but I've been hoping for it. As have we all, because as we know, Smormac McCarthy's The Road is, yes, a story of what goes down after things get bad. But let's be real, it's a story of adventure. Who hasn't at some difficult moment thought something to the effect of chuck it all, right even before you were part of this church? Think about some moment in your own life where things got so complicated you wished that Alexander the Great would come over a hill and just chop the Gordian knot of your life in half and throw both halves in the fire and you would deal with whatever was left. Right? Oh. Yeah, for heaven's sake. I had so many different things. Yo.
I love a good apocalyptic scare. It just gets my heart beating, like I remember what passion in life feels like.
Yeah.
You know, like you just have to look at death in the face to be like, hey, you're alive. Thank you.
That sound right to anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I didn't care about myself, but like a moment.
That's nice. Oh, for a moment there, I actually didn't mind that we had one of the world's cruelest imposters right there, because somebody's going to have to get eaten first. And I was like, two problems solving each other.
He's got nice thighs.
They're all right. What on earth can we learn from the hot moment there where the more credulous among us believed that whatever it was had happened? There was a flash in the distance, or whatever else happened, there's ash everywhere, right? We know that from the book. There is ashes all over the place, and there are bad people doing bad things. Well, I tell you what went through my mind. I've read the book enough times, and I've really absorbed it, where as I go about most of my day, almost automatically now, as I meet people, as I interact with the people I already know, I divide them, almost unconsciously, into the boy or the man. Which would they be when things went down?
Boy.
Some of them are going to be the boy. Very good. Some of them are going to be the man. What's the difference? Well, and if you want to, you could cast a quick survey through some of the people that come to mind in your life, people that you've seen today, or people that you will see on your next holiday gathering. There's the people who are going to need to be taken care of. There are the people who legitimately are going to need to be taken care of. They can't yet, maybe they can't ever, but they can't yet take care of themselves. Look at the boy. There are people in your life, some of them young, actual children. Some of them your own parents. Some of them your employers, some of them your employees, if you have such things. People who, when things go down, would be the boy. Then there are people who, when things go down, would be the man. And I say the man not as though it's some gender thing. It's in the book, the mama dies. So we have here the man and the boy. But feel free in your life to think of the woman and the girl, right? The adult and the child. The caretaker and the caretakee. The man has basically one job, which is to ensure that the boy survives. And the boy has, in our book, which is still our book, the boy has one job, which is to survive, except they have one job together. It comes up in the passage of the book that so many of us have embroidered on a sampler and hung up somewhere that we can grab quick and toss in a go bag. Where they are together, the boy and the man, they have a quiet moment. And the man runs through with the boy the questions. Their own personal catechism, which has become so many of ours. The questions are, how many bullets do I have? And the answer is 2 plus. More than 2. What are the last 2 for? The first one is for you. The second one is for me. Because this is a world of cannibals, in a world of slave takers, in a world of those who will make you a Catamite if they wish. And this is not a thing that anyone should let anyone they love be. So they make sure that's clear with each other every day. And then the man asks the boy, and what are we doing? And the boy says, we're carrying the fire. Because this is the one that takes some of the most difficult moments of our 2014 life and makes the worst things about it run wild and take over. If you think that this world, New York City, United States, whatever, is a dog-eat-dog world, that is a world where people behave like dogs and they will literally eat the other people. Right? We have to learn, as we learn in this church, that if you're in a beautiful house, look out the window, figure out who's the food. Set them free if you can, but don't get caught yourself. And find out who among the people you meet is also carrying the fire. Because the man can't carry the fire on his own. He can't. Every one of us who in some of our moments is the man, is the caretaker, we need someone to take care of. Or else F it. I think that's what happens to a lot of people who get very dissolute through their 20s and their 30s and into their 40s. They never have kids and they never find anyone that they actually biologically care about enough to take care of. So, you know, drugs. Some of us, I think all of us, at some moments in our life, are the man, are the one taking care of the other. Some of us, probably all of us, at some moments of our lives right now, are the boy. We need to be taken care of, we need to be defended, and we need to be taught. And woe unto anyone who never gets to switch roles on some sort of a regular basis. Because the man, he's got a bad cough, and spoiler alert, it never goes away. The book does not end, well, Cormac knew what he was writing about. So my message for you, as all of this crazy stuff happens, even right here, where we learn that this church was not founded on the work of who we thought it was, and then we briefly, at his hands and the faith of our choristers, think that it's actually going down. Think about this. When, and this is a fake church, if you want to have an actual moment, or think about anything really, you're allowed to. If you want to, think back to some moment in your life recently, and just see if anything bubbles up when you think, like, when was I the boy? I can tell you when I was. It was this morning. I felt awful, and I'm not sure why. There's a few weird things that have happened, like dumb, trivial sounding things that still somehow shook me, like a change at my job, and I've just been really tired. I don't know. But I felt awful, and I made some breakfast. I started a bagel toasting. I put some eggs on the griddle, and then I turned the griddle real low so the eggs wouldn't burn too fast, and I went and I found my wife, who was still laying in bed. Because it's Saturday, so why not? And I told her, I feel terrible. And she said, I can tell. And then without a further word, I pulled back the covers, and I just curled up in the bed, and I shivered for like, I don't know, it felt like 10, 15 minutes. It was probably 5, I don't know. It's true. I needed to be taken care of for a moment, and I luckily have someone in my life right now who can tell when that's so, and I don't have to over-explain it. And she did that for me. Maybe you've had a moment like that. Maybe it's been a while, and good on you. Maybe you've had a moment like that recently, maybe you can think back to one. But then also think of a time when someone came to you and needed taken care of, needed to be taught, maybe needed to be reminded, or just shielded for a while. And know that we would not have our book if there were not the man, and we would not have our book if there were not the boy, and the fire would not survive. And some parts of your life today could use a little more fire, and know happily that someone is carrying it. So, If you notice that you need protection and someone steps out and gives it to you, that person for that moment is the man, is the caretaker. If you realize at some point that you have responded to someone's need for protection, then in that moment you are the man. If you take two people on a wacky adventure while communing with the dead, then you're the ghost car. And that's just not canonical, but I will talk with you after. So there's a very simple thing that happens when the man has carried the fire with the boy as far as he can. And the fire is threatening to go out, but they found other good people. Ryan, you really haven't read the book, I'm sorry. The fire is carried in the vessel of the boy to a new group that will help him take it. So here's all I want you to do. It's very simple. Reach under your chair, take out the little glow light there. It's small, like the kind that ravers wear on their fingers. Push the button so it lights up. See, we've rigged them to flicker. Just hold it out on your hand. Hold it out on your hand, and know that this hand is you as the boy. You're carrying the fire. Take this hand. Hold it erect. It's taller than the other. This hand is you as the man. I want you to take your hand that is the man and know that sometimes you've got to protect the fire and close together the two. Now take the fire and pass it to your left. Open the hands and let it go. If someone's passing you the fire, receive it. This is like Pac-Man, it looked around. And in one of the unreleased hidden chapters of McCarthy's The Road, the boy and his new party, they follow the road all the way to the end and they find a village. Again, Smormac cut this because it kind of dilutes the impact of the book. But they had taken the fire to a new bed of kindling, tinder, and fuel, and the fire catches, and the world looks like it's on its way to repair. Now again, not as exciting, but very hopeful. So as you have the fire still here, simply let it go. And with me on three, say, burn, burn, burn. 1, 2, 3, burn, burn, burn. Ladies and gentlemen, we are over the second long time. This has been the big church of not anymore. Turns out Cormac McCarthy's The Road, but rather the big church of McCarthy's The Road. Please give it up for Lucas Haslam, who was Sunday upstairs at 10 o'clock as part of the New York Improv Festival. We're thrilled to have you there. Otherwise, spread the word. Visit us at fakechurch.net. That's real. People think it's fake. It's real. But don't go to fakechurch.com. It set off like the virus alert at my office and I almost got in trouble. So, fakechurch.net. Thank you all for being here. I have been Reverend Jeff Gerber. This is the Fake Church Choir who will sing us out. By all means, please visit us again and blank bless you. Thank you.